Trapped in the broken ship was broken like an old toy. Metal walls were cracked. Sparks fell from the roof. The sound of alarms was loud in every corner. Smoke filled the cold air. A man named Ethan slowly opened his eyes. His body felt heavy, and pain stabbed his side like a knife. He tried to move, but his arms were weak. He could not remember everything. Only pieces came back to him. There had been an attack. The ship was hit by something powerful. He had fallen against the wall, and then everything turned dark. Now, he was alone, or at least he thought he was. Ethan looked around. Rubble covered the floor. A broken pipe leaked gas and a slow hiss. Small fires burned in the corners. He knew he had to get out before the fire spread. He pushed himself up, holding his side. His head spun. Every step felt hard. Then he saw her. She was lying near a large metal beam. Her skin was blue like the sky before dawn. Long silver hair was spread across the dirty floor. Her eyes were open, but did not blink. She looked like a doll left in the dust. A piece of rope tied her wrists. Her legs did not move. For a moment, Ethan thought she was dead. He felt a strange sadness. Even if she was an alien, she did not deserve to die alone in this place. He took a slow step closer. When he reached her, he bent down. He saw her chest moving very softly. She was still alive. Her lips were dry and cracked. He heard a soft, broken whisper. "Please, don't leave me." Ethan felt something tighten in his chest. He looked around again. The ship creaked under the weight of the broken ceiling. Another alarm began to scream. It was the sign that the air was becoming poisoned. He had the choices. He could leave now and maybe save himself, or he could try to help her, though it would slow him down. He touched the edge of her hair. It felt warm. She was real, not some dream. Suddenly, a loud bang shook the ship. Part of the wall fell, blocking the main door. Dust flew everywhere. Ethan covered his mouth with his sleeve. He knew then there was no easy way out. If he left her, he would be alone in this dying place. If he stayed, maybe they could survive together. He bent down lower. "Can you hear me?" he asked. His voice was rough. Her eyes moved a little. They were pale blue, almost white. "Yes," she said. Her voice like wind in the trees. "Help me, please." Ethan looked over her body. She had cuts and bruises. Her left leg looked twisted. She could not stand on her own. He felt fear in his stomach. He had never been this close to an alien before. All his life, he was taught to fight them, to see them as the enemy. But looking at her now, she did not look dangerous. She looked small and scared. He pulled a piece of cloth from his pocket and wrapped it around her wrist, where the rope had cut into her skin. She winced but did not pull away. "My name is Ethan," he said quietly. "I will try to get us out." She closed her eyes and breathed out slowly. "I am Leora," she whispered. Ethan felt a small shock. He had heard that name before, in old war reports. The name belonged to a race known for special gifts. Some said they could heal. Some said they were only weapons. But she looked nothing like a weapon now. The smoke was getting thicker. Ethan knew they had to move. He saw a small service hatch on the far wall, partly hidden by broken pipes. It was their only chance, but to reach it, he would have to carry her. He touched her shoulder gently. "I will lift you," he said. She did not open her eyes, but she nodded. Slowly, Ethan slid his arms under her back and knees. She was lighter than he expected. As he stood, pain shot through his ribs. He clenched his teeth. He could not stop now. Step by step, he moved toward the hatch. Each step felt like walking through water. The heat from the fires burned his skin. He held her close, almost there. He whispered. Behind them, another explosion rocked the ship. Metal screamed, but he kept walking. In that moment, he did not think of war or sides. He only thought of getting her out alive. And somewhere deep inside, a strange thought grew. Maybe saving her would also save him. Asterisk, the first sign of hope. Pethy's ship was silent except for the slow, heavy sound of the man's breathing. He sat beside the alien girl, his back pressed against the cold metal wall. For a moment, he closed his eyes, trying not to think about how alone they were. The other soldiers had run. They had left him here to die, but he was still alive. And so was she. The girl lay on her side, her pale blue skin marked by old scars. She did not speak. Her silver hair spread across the floor like a river of moonlight. He watched her chest rise and fall, each breath soft but real. He did not even know her name, but he knew she was not a threat. She was broken, maybe more than he was. A low hum passed through the ship, making the walls tremble. He looked up, listening. For the first time, he felt something in the air that was not fear. It was something else. "Hey," he said quietly, though he was not sure she could hear him. "I think something's changing." Her eyes fluttered open. They were glowing a little brighter now, just a faint pulse of blue light that came and went like a heartbeat. He moved closer. "Can you hear me?" Slowly, her head turned. The glow in her eyes grew stronger. He felt his own heartbeat speed up. Outside the broken window, the storm was getting worse. Dust swirled through the ruined city, turning the sky into a red haze. They could not leave. Even if the ship worked, they would never survive the winds. But when he looked at her again, he saw that her hand had moved. It was a small thing, just a twitch of her fingers, but it was the first sign of hope since he woke up. "You're waking up," he whispered. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. Instead, her hand lifted slowly from the floor, hovering near her chest. Her fingers closed over the thick metal plate strapped there. He leaned forward. "Are you hurt? Can I help you?" Her eyes locked on his. The glow was bright now, so bright it threw blue light across his face. He could see the soft lines of fear and something else, something like trust. A deep crack echoed from somewhere in the walls. He knew the ship wouldn't hold forever, maybe not even another hour. He had to find a way to keep her safe. Suddenly, her body shivered. A pale blue light spread from her chest to her arms and neck. The scars on her skin began to fade. He watched, stunned, as the cracked lines closed, leaving smooth skin behind. His breath caught in his throat. What are you doing?" Her voice was weak, no more than a whisper. "Healing. When I protect." He swallowed. "Protect who?" Her eyes never left his. "You." For a moment, all the fear, all the anger, all the loneliness vanished. In the middle of the storm, in a dead ship no one cared about, something was alive. Something was trying to save him, and he knew then that he would not leave her, no matter what came through that broken door. The enemy returned, then sat in the dark ship, watching the blue glow fade from the girl's skin. For a few breaths, he felt almost calm, but then he remembered where they were. The ruined ship was not safe. The storm outside was only part of the danger. He looked out the cracked window. The red dust had started to settle, but he could see dark shapes moving in the distance. Soldiers, the same ones who had left him here. They were coming back, probably to make sure no one survived. He turned to the girl. Her breathing was stronger now. The cuts on her face were gone. Her silver hair lay smooth across the floor. She looked less broken, but her eyes were still tired. "We have to move," he said. "They will come here soon." She blinked slowly. "I can try to stand." He nodded and offered his hand. She stared at it for a moment, as if no one had ever given her help before. Then she placed her small, cold hand in his. He felt the strange warmth again, like a hidden fire beneath her skin. With effort, she sat up. Her shoulders shook. A small gasp escaped her lips. Ethan moved his arm around her back to steady her. "Easy," he said. "Just breathe." She looked into his eyes, her voice soft. "Why are you helping me?" He hesitated. He could have said it was because he needed her powers to heal him. He could have said he had no choice, but the truth was simpler. "Because you're alone," he said quietly, "and so am I." For a moment, she looked like she might cry. But then she nodded. A loud bang echoed through the ship. Dust fell from the ceiling. Ethan felt her body tense. "They are here," she whispered. Ethan let go of her and picked up the old rifle he had found earlier. He checked the charge. 2 shots left. Not enough. He glanced at her again. She was trying to stand, but her leg was still weak. He took a deep breath. "I'll hold them off," he said. "You hide." "No," she said, her voice firmer now. "I can help you. You can't even walk." She closed her eyes. The blue light returned, brighter this time. Slowly, she placed her hand over her heart. The light spread again, covering her whole body. He stepped back, eyes wide. "What are you doing?" She opened her eyes. They were glowing like twin moons. "Protecting." Before he could ask more, the door crashed open. 3 soldiers stepped inside, their weapons raised. Their armor was black with red marks. They moved like hunters. The first one saw Ethan and lifted his rifle, but before he could fire, the girl's hand shot up. A wave of blue energy burst out from her palm. It hit the soldiers like a wall. They flew backward. crashing into the metal walls with heavy thuds. The room went quiet again. Ethan turned slowly to look at her. She was breathing hard, her face pale. While she was still sitting upright, he could not find words. Her voice shook. "If you stay close to me, I can protect you." He swallowed. "Can you walk now?" She nodded, though her body still trembled. "I will try." He reached for her again, and together they stood. She leaned against him. For the first time, he felt like they might really survive. Outside the door, more footsteps echoed. Ethan tightened his grip on the rifle. "We have to move now." She looked up at him, her eyes bright. "Then let's go." They stepped over the fallen soldiers and into the hallway, side by side. The storm was not over. The danger was still waiting. But in that moment, Ethan knew he was no longer fighting alone. Asterisk a dangerous Bondathan and Leora stepped into the dark hallway. Broken lights flickered overhead. The ship smelled of smoke and old metal. Every step echoed around them. Somewhere deep inside, Ethan knew more enemies would come. But he also knew he was not alone anymore. Leora leaned on his arm. Her body was thin and cold, but her steps were stronger now. The blue light still glowed softly under her skin, like a hidden promise. When she spoke, her voice was quiet but steady. "We must find the control room," she said. "If I can reach the main panel, I can open the lower hatch." Ethan nodded. He did not know much about alien ships, but he trusted her. He could feel something between them, a bond that had started the moment she healed him. It made no sense, but it felt real. They moved past smashed doors and empty rooms. The walls were marked with blaster burns. It looked like many had tried to escape before them. None had succeeded. Ethan stopped to catch his breath. He leaned against the wall and looked at her. Her face was pale, her silver hair falling around her shoulders. Even now, she looked almost peaceful. "You should rest," he said. She shook her head. "No time." Suddenly, a voice crackled from a speaker overhead. It was cold and sharp. "Unit 7, report." Ethan's blood turned cold. The enemy commander was checking for survivors. If they were found, more soldiers would come. He gestured for her to follow. They crept down the hall, careful not to make a sound, but every small noise seemed loud in the quiet ship. At the next corner, Ethan froze. Two soldiers stood by a sealed door. One was speaking into a communicator. The other had his rifle ready. Leora's hand closed around Ethan's wrist. Her fingers were trembling. "If they see us," she began. He shook his head. "They won't." He set his rifle down and reached for a piece of broken metal on the floor. Slowly, he tossed it down the hallway behind them. The sound of it clattering against the wall made both soldiers turn their heads. In that heartbeat, Ethan moved. He rushed forward and grabbed the nearest soldier, slamming him into the wall. The second turned and raised his weapon, but Leora lifted her hand. A pulse of blue light shot from her palm, striking him in the chest. The soldier gasped and fell to his knees. Ethan caught his breath. He looked at her with wide eyes. You did that again." She nodded slowly. "Only when I'm near you." His chest felt tight. Why? Her gaze did not waver. "Because you protected me. Now I am bound to you." "Bound?" He whispered. "It is an old bond." She said, "My kind are born with it. When someone risks their life for us, we can share our power. But it is dangerous." "Dangerous how?" Her eyes were sad. "Every time I heal you, it takes something from me." Ethan felt like the floor shifted under his boots. He had never asked for this. He never wanted to take her strength, but he knew he could not survive without her help, and he could not leave her alone. He bent down and picked up the fallen soldier's rifle. Then he looked at her again. "Then we stay together. We share the risk." She blinked slowly. A tear slipped down her cheek, but she did not look away. "Together," she whispered. The door behind the guards was marked with an alien symbol glowing faintly. Leora stepped forward and placed her hand on it. The light grew brighter and the door slid open. With a sigh, inside was the control room. Screens flickered with broken data. Sparks danced across the floor. Ethan followed her in, closing the door behind them. She moved to the main panel and began pressing symbols he could not read. He watched her hands, the soft blue glow trailing over the controls. After a moment, she looked back at him. "I can open the hatch now," she said. "But when we leave, they will know." He nodded. "That we don't waste time." She pressed one final symbol. A loud clang echoed through the ship. Somewhere below, a hatch unlocked. Ethan moved to her side, ready. Her eyes met his, even tired and hurt. She looked brave. Yes, she said, and in that moment, Ethan felt the bond between them strengthen. It was dangerous. It was unknown, but it was also the only thing keeping them alive. The last chance Ethan felt the hatch unlock deep below the ship. A cold draft of air rose through the broken floor vents. He knew this was their only way out. He also knew the enemy would feel the hatch open and come running. Leora stepped back. From the control panel, the glow on her skin was fading, leaving her pale and unsteady. She touched the edge of the console for balance. "Are you all right?" he asked. "I used too much energy," she said softly. "But I can walk." Ethan studied her face. He could see how much this cost her. Every time she helped him, it took something from her body, but he also knew she would never stop. That bond she spoke of was more powerful than anything he had ever seen. He bent to pick up a pack from the corner of the room. Inside were ration bars, a water tube, and the extra power cells. He pushed one into his rifle until it clicked. "We need to get to the hatch," he said. She nodded. Together they moved back into the hallway. The lights were dimmer now, flickering like dying stars. The alarms had stopped, but that only made the silence worse. Ethan led the way, his steps careful. Every shadow felt alive. He could almost feel eyes watching them. Halfway down the hall, he stopped. Footsteps, heavy ones. He turned to Leora. "Stay behind me." Round the corner, dark shapes appeared for enemy soldiers in black armor. Their rifles glowed red in the dim light. One of them raised a hand, pointing right at Ethan. There, Ethan fired first. The blast struck the lead soldier in the chest, throwing him back. The others ducked behind broken walls. He turned to Leora. "Run." She hesitated. "I will not leave you. Go," he shouted, but she did not move. Instead, she placed her hand on his back. Warmth spread through him, stronger than ever before. The pain in his side vanished. His mind felt clear and sharp. The soldiers returned fire. Bolts of red energy slammed into the walls around them. Sparks exploded in the air. Ethan aimed carefully and shot again. One more enemy fell. Leora stepped into the open. Blue light flared around her hands. The remaining soldiers froze, their eyes wide. "No," Ethan gasped. "Stay back." But she lifted both hands, palms open. A wave of blue energy burst forward, throwing the last two soldiers against the walls. The force of it shook the whole corridor. When it was over, she swayed and dropped to her knees. Ethan ran to her side, grabbing her shoulders. "Leora." Her eyes fluttered open. "I am all right," she whispered. "Just weak." He pulled her into his arms and held her close. For a moment, he forgot about everything else. The war, the ship, even the danger. "You saved us," he said. Her head rested against his chest. "Because you would have done the same." He felt something tighten in his chest. He had never believed in bonds or destiny, but here, in this ruined place, he believed her. The hatch was only a few steps away now. He lifted her carefully and carried her down the hall. Each step was hard, but he felt her warmth against his skin, giving him strength. At the end of the passage, a round door waited. He set her down gently. "Can you open it?" She reached out with a trembling hand. The door glowed blue and began to turn. Cold air rushed in, carrying the smell of dust and old metal. Beyond the hatch was a tunnel, narrow and dark, but it led away from this place. It was freedom. Ethan turned back to her. "Can you walk?" She nodded weakly. "If you help me." He smiled, "Just a little, always." A sound behind them made them both freeze. More footsteps, many this time. Ethan looked down the tunnel, then back at her. "This is it," he said. "We go now." She looked into his eyes, her voice soft but strong. "Together." He nodded, and with her hand in his, they stepped into the darkness. The long tunnel was narrow and cold. Every step echoed like a drumbeat. Ethan moved first, holding his rifle ready. Behind him, Leora leaned against the wall to steady herself. Her skin glowed only a little now, like a candle almost out of flame. "Stay close," Ethan said softly. "I will," she whispered. They walked in silence. The only sound was their breathing and the faint hum of the ship dying behind them. After a while, Ethan slowed his pace. He looked back at her. She was pale, but her eyes were steady. "Tell me," he said, "when you use your power, does it hurt you?" She looked away. "A little." "Why didn't you say something?" he asked. "Because you would have tried to stop me," she said. and I could not let you die." He didn't know what to say. All his life, he was taught aliens were monsters. He had believed it, to until now. She was not a monster. She was braver than anyone he had ever known. Ahead, the tunnel turned. Sharply, he raised his rifle and peeked around the corner. No movement, just more darkness, almost there. He said. She nodded, though her breathing was ragged. "Where does it lead?" "Old cargo passages," he said. "If we can reach them, we can get out into the wasteland." And then, she asked. Ethan hesitated. "Then we find somewhere safe for both of us." She seemed to relax a little. "Safe," she repeated, like she was tasting the word for the first time. They started moving again. As they walked, Ethan thought about the first time he saw her, lying still on the cold floor. He had almost left her behind. The thought made him feel ashamed. Now, he knew he would never leave her again. Suddenly, a soft beeping filled the tunnel. Leora pressed her hand to her chest. Her skin glowed brighter for a moment. "What is that?" he asked quickly. "It is a warning," she said. "They are tracking us." Ethan's jaw tightened. "How long do we have?" "Minutes," she said. Her eyes were sad. "They will come with weapons." He looked ahead. The tunnel stretched into darkness. They could hide, but only if she was strong enough to walk. He turned to her. "You said you heal when you protect." She nodded slowly. "Then stay behind me," he said. "If they come, you don't move." Her voice shook. "You will be killed." He shook his head. "Not if you believe in me." They kept walking, each step feeling heavier. The beeping grew louder. Finally, the tunnel opened into a wide chamber full of old crates and broken machines. Ethan set her down behind a stack of metal boxes. "Stay here," he said. She gripped his hand. "Don't go." "I have to," he said, "but I will come back." Her eyes glowed softly. "Promise." He bent down so their faces were close. "I promise." He stepped away and took position behind a broken panel. His heart was loud in his ears. He checked his rifle. One power cell left. Not enough for a fight. Footsteps came from the tunnel. Shadows moved across the floor. Ethan took a deep breath and aimed. 3 soldiers stepped into the chamber. They moved slowly, scanning every corner. One of them saw the crates and lifted his weapon. Ethan didn't wait. He fired. The first blast hit the lead soldier, throwing him backward. The other spun around, shouting. He fired again. A second enemy fell. The last soldier ducked behind a crate and returned fire. Red bolts struck the wall near Ethan's head. He pressed closer to the metal, waiting for the right moment. Then he heard her voice. "Ethan." He looked back. Leora had stood up. The blue light around her was bright and wild. Her hair lifted as if caught in a silent wind. "No," he shouted. "Stay down." But she didn't listen. She stepped into the open, her hands glowing. The last soldier turned and fired at her. Time seemed to slow. Ethan dove forward, trying to reach her, but before the shot landed, her light exploded outward. A wave of blue energy washed over the chamber, lifting dust and debris into the air. The soldier froze mid-step, then collapsed to the floor without a sound. The light faded. Leora dropped to her knees. Ethan ran to her side, catching her before she hit the ground. Her eyes fluttered open. "Did we win?" He held her close. "Yes," he whispered. "You did it." She smiled weakly. "Together." The light beyond the door then held Leora in his arms as the last sparks of her power faded. Her breathing was slow, but steady. He pressed his hand to her cheek. Her skin was still warm. "Stay with me," he whispered. Her eyes fluttered open. They were softer now, no longer glowing, but clear and full of life. She looked tired, but she was alive. "I am here," she breathed. Ethan closed his eyes for a moment. He had not realized how much he needed to hear those words. Slowly, he helped her sit against the wall. Around them, the chamber was silent. The soldiers were gone. The ship felt empty, as if the danger had finally passed. He picked up his rifle and walked to the far end of the room. A large door stood there, half buried in rubble. He brushed the dust away with his boot. The door was marked with an old symbol, a star inside a circle. He had seen that symbol in old war reports. "This is the exit," he called to her. She raised her head, her silver hair falling over her face. "How do you know?" "Because this door was never meant to keep people in," he said. "It was made to let them escape." He pressed the panel beside the frame. A low hum filled the room. The door shuddered, but did not open. "It's stuck," he said. Leora looked down at her hands. They were trembling. I can try, she whispered. He moved to her side and held her shoulders. You've done enough, but she shook her head. Slowly, no, we do this together. He nodded, feeling something warm grow in his chest. She placed her hand on the panel. At first, nothing happened. Then a faint blue light spread under her palm. The metal shivered. Dust fell from the ceiling. The door groaned and slid open just enough for a person to pass through. Cold air rushed in, carrying the scent of stone and freedom. Ethan looked back at her. Can you walk? She met his eyes. Not alone. He bent down and lifted her carefully into his arms. She was light, as if her body had let go of every burden. He stepped through the door and into a narrow tunnel carved from rock. Light filtered in from somewhere far above. It felt like stepping into another world behind them. The ship let out a long, final creak. Soon, it would fall silent forever. He walked until they reached a wide opening. Above them, the sky stretched, clear and blue. He had almost forgotten what it looked like. Leora stirred in his arms. It's beautiful, she whispered. He looked down at her face. She was smiling. Yes, he said. It is. Carefully, he set her down on a smooth stone. She leaned against the wall, her breathing slow but calm. You saved me, he said. She shook her head. No, you saved me first. He sat beside her, feeling the warmth of the sun on his skin. For a long time, neither of them spoke. The quiet was the best sound he had ever heard. After a while, she turned her head toward him. What happens now? He thought about it. He had no ship, no orders, no more war to fight. Now we live, he said simply. Her eyes softened. And if they come for us? He looked at her and felt no fear. Then we fight. Together. She reached out her hand. He took it in his own. The bond between them was something neither of them fully understood, but it was strong. Stronger than the hate that had filled so many years. For the first time, Ethan believed in something bigger than survival. He believed in her, in them. He helped her stand. She leaned against him, her silver hair glowing in the new sunlight. Step by step, they began walking toward the open valley beyond the rocks. Behind them, the broken ship grew small in the distance. Ahead, the world was waiting, and no matter what came, they would face it side by side.